Today, a reality TV star learned he will spend the rest of his life behind bars. A judge sentenced Tim Norman for being the mastermind of his nephew's death.
Somber and hugging it out after the sentencing. As for the victim side of the family, they said this was everything they wanted to hear. Relatives rejoice over justice and celebrate a life sentence.
Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus.
First and foremost, my heart goes out to Miss Robbie because, it gotta suck to know that, you raise your children to the best of your abilities and they still, they still did what they wanted to do. This is the only scripture that I really, not to say I question, but this is the only one that I couldn't really wrap my head around, because the human side of me said, we all know somebody that raised their kids and they still managed to just, run them up. We all know somebody that, has failures for children. I think the biggest thing is, though, I don't have any children right now, but if and when that day comes, I already said I'm not going to be the type of parent that turns their back on my children because I was a hothead growing up. Now look, you see what I'm saying? That's why when I heard people say, like, for example, Kirk Franklin's son, how he talk about how his dad beat him or call him a name or whatever, it's not the worst thing in the world, because like I told y'all before, I got beatings growing up. Now look, you see what I'm saying? I'm starting grad school in the fall. I don't have any children. I'm in my mid-20s, so I'm on my own. I have my own crib. I have my own whip, so they did something right, but, and I'm not saying Miss Robbie didn't do anything right, because we know, as we can see, she's the type of parent that tries to stand by her child even when they wrong. But sometimes I wonder, is that where she went wrong? If that makes sense, because I think we all know somebody that their parents did not tell them when they were wrong, and now as an adult, they are the way that they are. I give you another example, right? Growing up, I told y'all how I used to go to alternative school. So I told y'all that's going to be a story for one day. I told y'all how me and the dyke got to fighting because she got mad I wouldn't give her a kiss. And she will always say before the fight, she not used to nobody telling her no. She used to get in her way, she won't used to that, but like I kept telling her, I'm not into women. So that's not my tune. And she won't try to hear that shit. Like, she won't try to hear it. So one thing led to another. Everybody in the class always kept saying, just get it over with. Just because, everybody, when people scared of somebody, they never really gonna call them out on their BS. Especially in this particular situation, nobody was gonna pull her card and say, hey, you can't make her want to, do that, so people were just going along with it. I'm going to tell y'all that story one day. Long story short, one thing that she used to say all the time, even like to the teachers, if the teachers get mad and tell her to sit down, we about to start the lesson, or, tell her, basically stop being a class clown, stop, just wanting attention when we're trying to, get the day started, she would get mad and she would tell the mom, don't holler at me. My own mama don't holler at me. My own mama don't tell me when to sit down. My own mama, so I give you that example to say a lot of the times people's parents, they don't check them on stuff, and that same person I just told you about, now look at her. You get what I'm saying? So matter of fact, I don't even think she graduated high school. Come to think of it, I think she going back for her GED, which is nothing wrong with the GED. Okay, look at Judge Mathis. He got his GED. I'm just throwing it out there for the people out there that, you know, the negative Nancy's want to. It ain't nothing wrong with the GED. You know they out there, you know. So just throwing it out there for the people that want to pick a fight. Nothing wrong with it. Judge Mathis got his GED, and that's a damn good example of somebody that made something out of themselves. Okay, make sure you hear that, because people hear what they want to hear. With that being said, I'm wondering, is that where Miss Robbie went wrong? Now, did I say that made her a bad person? No. Okay. Did I say that's what she did exactly? No. I said that I'm wondering, is that where she went wrong? Okay. If I had a son, I would teach my son that, of course, you know, me and his father, I always said when I have my children, I'm going to be really big on, one of the things that my biggest lessons growing up, that I'm so glad, when God created me, I'm glad that he made me the type of person that I'm real big on thinking for myself. You know, it wasn't really going to school. I didn't really, you know how some kids are easily peer pressured. I wasn't the type of child that you could like easily influence me. If it was something I didn't want to do, I didn't want to do it. If I felt that it wouldn't benefit me, I wouldn't do it. You know how some kids, you hear parents say all the time, trying to break my child out of the habit of being a follower. You know, I wasn't that child. I was the child that, you know how you see some kids that they see like 50 people deep at the table, they're going to try to pull up a chair and squeeze on in there. I was the child that would go sit at the table all by myself. I never been the type that tried to fit in. You know, and that's something that I'm definitely going to instill in my children growing up. You have to have a strong mind in this world. And that's something that I'm glad when God created my brain, you know, he took his time when he put that in me. You know, another thing, I'm wondering, did Miss Robbie, when he was growing up, was she the type of mom that, you know, always found, you know, issues and error within everybody else's child and didn't really find it in hers? I'm wondering, you know, because I'm not saying she did, but I'm just wondering, you know, I didn't like her remark when she said, you know, I don't know if he did it or something like that she was saying. You know, I think that's how I wonder, is she the type of mom that's in denial when it comes to her child? You know, we've all met people, can't nobody tell me about my child, I know my child. I wonder, is she that type of mom? Because it seemed like to me, okay, that's your son, but that was also, Andre was your grandson, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't he matter as well? You know, I've heard some grandparents say, I've heard multiple grandparents say, you love your child and you love your grandchild, but it's a different feeling when it's your actual child. I never really understood that one, but I've heard multiple people say that. But that's why I say I wonder, is she the type that's in denial when it comes to her children? Like, oh, I already know that ain't my boy. That ain't my girl. I raised them better than that. I wonder, is she in denial? And that doesn't make her a bad person. That doesn't make her a horrible mother. You know, I read the comment myself when she said on her post, she was like, I'm just trying to stick by my son, as any mother would. I understand that, but at what point do you say, I love you, son, but you were wrong? Okay, as far as Jennifer Stinky Breath Williams. Okay, let me stop. Okay, so the thing is, I think people disregarded what she had to say as far as Tim because it's Jennifer Williams. I think she's one of those people. Okay, when I think of this situation, in my opinion, I feel that people feel like in their brain she's already a villain. And when you're a villain and you're misunderstood, sometimes even when you are right, you are still painted wrong. Okay? And I'll say this, right? On the show, Jennifer Williams came across very unlikable. Very unlikable. She came across as a shit starter. She did. She came across as someone that likes to keep a lot of stuff going, likes to see a lot of confusion. She throws a rock and hides her hand. Very much so. Very much so. I didn't like the way she did Cece. I didn't like the way they did Cece at all. And it was another episode. I forgot that girl name that they told her they was gonna give. This was years ago. They told her they was gonna give her a makeover, and it was so mean the way they carried it with her. Oh my goodness, that could not be my friend. That could not be my sister. Because I would have went up there and I would have fought them girls. Because that was so mean the way they did that girl. I forgot her name. I think after that situation, I don't think we saw too much of her no more. Yeah, that could not be nobody close to me because that was terrible. Anyway, and she looked like they really had hurt her feelings. You know, they say some of that stuff up there is fake and for a storyline. The way her facial expression was, they really caught her off guard with that. That was terrible. Anyway, like they was trying to talk down on her, like, and it was nothing wrong with what she had on. She just had on regular clothes. Sometimes people don't want to dress up all the time. Anyway, it was just mean. I got to find out who that was because she left the show after that. Her feelings were probably really hurt. Anyway, so nonetheless, yeah, I think people didn't listen to her, Jennifer, as far as Tim because they felt that she was mean. She was mean, and people have feelings, and I know she had, I couldn't tell you what had exactly happened between her and Tim. I can't really remember. All I do remember for a fact is she said it's a different side to him, and I believe it. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you I done seen Sweetie Pie's TV show. I've never seen an episode a day in my life. Now, if I could find out how I could scream the old episodes, I'm gonna look into it to see. I'll watch it to, see the vibe between him and Andre. I saw a couple of clippings. I didn't like the way Tim would look at him sometimes. Like I always tell you, you could tell a lot about how a person look at you by the, how they feel about you by the way they look at you. I could see Tim. I've seen many clippings actually. I bought Miss Robbie cookbook. I did. Have I used a recipe yet? No. Maybe one day I'll do a video on one of the recipes. Other than that, yeah. So as far as Jennifer, I think people didn't listen to her because who she is. I'll give you an example. So what's a good example of a villain that was right about somebody? Well, let me think. I'm trying to think. Okay, so here's the example. Once upon a time I was in high school, right? And I was, let's just say I had a good Judy. I believe she was a good Judy, right? Long story short, she hung around two other people that used to throw a lot of shade, right? Fast forwarding, not catching the shade, not catching the little stuff that they did, blah blah blah, right? So, yeah, we all have experienced. We've all experienced situations where somebody is in your face when nobody is around. Hey, girl, what's going on? And when other people around, they act like da da da. So, boom. So one particular time, I was in, the office, right? And we just crossed paths. Nothing to do with nothing, just being in the office. I think it was like the end of the day, blah blah blah. Time to go home or whatever the case, whatever we was doing. It was all I remember was the end of the day, right? So we crossed paths, and this particular girl that hung with a lot of other girls that mean girls, right? She said to me, "Is that girl that you be with sometime, is she supposed to be your friend?" And I'm like, I'm the type of person that if I don't care much for you, I really don't think it's anything you have to say to me. It's not really, And I said, what did you just say to me? And she was like, I'm asking you, is that girl that you be with, is she supposed to be your friend or something? So one thing kind of led to another, and we was about to fight. We never fought. And I remember when she first said it to me, a lot of people were standing around, but it was like everybody had got quiet. And I think I had put down my books, and then I remember everybody just running in between us like, wait a minute. No, and then I was like, I just want to hear what she had to say. What did she say? So the girl was like, oh, you ain't gotta walk up on me. I just asked you a question, And so she just kept popping off with the mouth. So I had got quiet. So I had reached for the trophy, because every office high school got some like trophies in there. So I kind of reached for the trophy as I was walking up to her, and then they like the school how every high school got like school officers. The school officer had took it out of my hand, and I said, I'm just looking at the trophy. He said, well, why are you walking up to her with the trophy in your hand? So I just wanted to hear what she had to say, right? So so this was around the time where I was just tired of fussing with bitches. I was just over it, right? So as I was picking up the trophy, they got between us. People were grabbing me. People was getting in between us, grabbing her. So one thing she yelled out, and I never forget it long as I live. She said, "I'm trying to tell you that bitch is not your friend, because why you going hard for a bitch that laugh every time we clown your ass? She's not your friend, because if she was your friend, she would have said something. But you so caught." Then she had said, she was like, "But you so caught on who the messenger is that you're not paying attention to the message." So after that, I thought about what she said, and as time went on, me and her never had a problem before, but as time went on, she got to speaking, and as I thought about what she said, I started speaking back, and time went on, and she was just like, "Yeah, girl, all I was doing was trying to tell you, them bitches laugh when we was joking on you. She was laughing too. So I was trying to point out the fact that she's not your good Judy, because a good Judy gonna say something. They gonna speak up for you. So more of the story is, because she was a villain in my eyes, I did not want to hear the truth to what she was saying to me. At that time, I didn't stop and listen to, hey, this bitch, maybe I need to pay attention more. Maybe I need to, listen more. Maybe I need to see what she really is saying. So how this relates to Jennifer is, people did not listen to her because they felt like she was a villain. So anything she had to say, they was like, girl, bye. It's Jen. For real, it's Jen. Like, they weren't really listening to her. But if people had listened to her a long time ago, maybe, just maybe, a lot of more weird behaviors with Tim could have been a little more clockable, if you know what I mean. I didn't like the way he looked at Andre. Like, it was a scene where I saw on, you know, they had like the little snippet clips. The way he was just looking at that boy. And it's no way somebody that young put that much disdain in your heart. I think he was jealous of his relationship with the Miss Robbie. Based on the little clippings I saw, it seemed like he always got pissed off when Miss Robbie was, babying him, and and I'm pretty sure Miss Robbie has gave him the same much love and attention. It's really sad. But I gotta say this. My favorite comment when they first found out they he was gonna get a lot of time, when the sentence came out, that was funny. I read a comment that said, they gonna see them hips coming from a mile away. Bruh, that thing was funny. But if I'm not mistaken, he already was locked up. He was just waiting to be sentenced. I'm glad he got justice though. I'm glad Andre got justice. I think I read a comment that said he lost a lot of weight too. I think that's probably because he don't want nobody to be looking all at his hips and basically, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him. If you know what I'm going with it. He gonna be in there for a long time. I can't speak for nobody else, but me personally, I believe when they locked up a long time like that, they be doing extracurricular activities, if you know what I mean. I can't see myself with somebody that been locked up a long time. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna hold you down because I'm not being honest. So basically, you want my life to go on pause. For you, I'm not doing it. I'm not putting my life on pause for you. You should have did right while you were out here. Plain and simple. But essentially, I'm glad Andre got justice. I pray that Miss Robbie forgives herself, because I know we all have encountered people that, have children that turned out kind of screwed up. We've all heard them say things like, I'm trying to figure out where I went wrong, or I'm trying to figure out what I didn't do right, And I just want Miss Robbie to know that maybe it's nothing that you did wrong, Like I mentioned the scripture earlier where I put in the beginning of the video, that's the only scripture that I'm kind of, because as we all know, you can raise your children up to the best of your abilities. But at the end of the day, it's up to them to do right. Just like I told y'all, I used to be a hothead. It was nothing that really happened in my life that really was bad that made me turn around. You know how some people have like a turning point story? It was nothing really that I didn't really have to go through anything really, really bad to make me turn around. Of course, like getting suspended, expelled, that's bad. But I mean, as far as like, I didn't have to get hurt up or, locked up or anything like that. I didn't have to go through that. I think what made me turn around was just, I wanted more. I got tired of always sitting in the principal office. I got tired of, making my dude sad. I got tired of, my dude's crying because she had to keep coming up to the school, getting off work and, and stuff like that. I got tired of seeing her cry. I got tired of, it seemed like I was disappointing her for a little bit. So, what brought me joy was, doing better, and then hearing her say, I don't worry about you nearly as much as I used to, things like that. I got tired of my Papa Dukes, back when he was alive, God rest his soul. He had when he was going into stage 4, and I would get suspended, and he'll be sitting in the principal office because his body aching, and he had his head down on the table because his body aching, and he's still trying to hear what these teachers saying, and for me that was enough. I got tired of people talking down on me, acting like I wasn't gonna be SHIT. For me, throughout the years, me being me, I wanted to prove them wrong. I wanted to, say, hey, F all y'all. When I do get myself together, all y'all can kiss my ass, and I just got tired of people trying to play me. So I say, I'm gonna just do better for me. And I ain't gonna worry about them people, and I'm gonna make my dudes proud, and my godmother and them, and I ain't gonna worry about the people that put me down and stuff like that. For me, and to this day, I still apologize to my dudes. Even when we don't always see eye to eye, I still apologize to her for those days when I worried her. But nonetheless, it sucks that Miss Robbie won't have that same feeling. But I want her to know that does not make her a bad mother. That does not make her, that does not mean she failed her children. That just means, they chose their own path. And sometimes that's just the case. Okay, that's just the way the cards shuffle. But I'm sure maybe it's somebody that worked in her restaurant that look up to her. Maybe it's somebody that out here that admire her. I'm sure it is. If she was a business owner and she treated her people right, she probably has a couple of people that she made a good impression in their life. And sometimes, that's, to me, that would be meaningful. You got people out here that you treated right. I have a couple of people that, have treated me right throughout the years, and I think about them. For example, I told y'all before, in high school I went through some things. When I transferred, I want to say, to another high school at one point, again, I was odd, so I told you I didn't wear name brand. That was really big back when I was going to high school. Polo this, polo that. If you ain't on polo, you want that girl, you want that guy. I remember one girl, because I remember one time I had on, and I used to wear like real weird colors. I still do, bright colors, and I just had my own style. I really wasn't trying to do what everybody else did. So I remember one particular time I had on what did I have on? I think I had on socks with heels, right? So I don't know why I had wear them socks with them heels looking back. And I remember walking down the hallway, and I remember a girl saying, why she got on socks with heels? That shit is not cute, And I remember one girl had said, okay, and if she wearing socks with heels, so the F what? So what? And she had, they had words. She said, okay, but are you wearing it? She said, hell no. She said, okay then. They ain't got nothing to do with you, right? So from that point on, we came cool. We started talking on the phone. And she was real down to earth, right? So long story short, she was just good people. She was a good vibe. And to this day I still remember her. Even when she moved away, we still kept in contact, right? So she was a good person. She was a good person. And I'm not gonna say what state, and I'm not gonna say what happened, because you can look up the case, who she is. So long story short, she moved away. She got hooked, I told y'all she was a people person. She was the type of person, everywhere she went, she made friends. She was one of those type of people. Very friendly. And one thing I liked about her, she always stood up for what was right. She wasn't a follower. And it really sucks what happened, because she's a good example of wrong place, wrong time. Whatever how you say it. But anyway, so I'm not gonna tell you what happened. I'll just say it was if I give you the details, you'll know. Let's just say she was with somebody that was with somebody that tried to take something from somebody that won't having it, and they pow. I'm not gonna give you the year, I'm not gonna give you no details, because it was a big case. But anyway, long story short, she ended up getting some time. And me, keeping in contact with her throughout the years, I ended up reaching out to her dad one Christmas and seeing how she was doing. He told me she was keeping her head up, So I ended up first trying to figure out, I tried to reach out to her sister, her play sister that she called her sister, asking her what prison she was in. She act like she didn't want to tell me, like it was. And like I told her, I said, well, I'm asking you because I want to send her something, to put on her books or something. And she said, why? I said, because I just want to, and she was like, y'all knew each other so long ago. And I said, well, I just want to. She's a good person. That's just something I want to do, and she act like she didn't want to tell me, so her daddy ended up telling me. So I ended up putting some of her books one time, and she told him to tell me thank you. And so more of the story is, I'm sure, sometimes when you are kind to people don't forget that. You don't know where you are meeting people at the point in their life, and sometimes a little act of kindness can go a long way. And even like, for example, with her dad, he told me himself, out of all her friends, I was the only one that actually bothered to put something on her books. Okay. So, just be careful how you treat people. Like I always say, y'all, pay attention to the signs. You know, be mindful of certain things. But more of the story, how that relates to Miss Robbie. If she was kind to people, if she didn't strike me in the clippings to be mean, if she was, knew how to treat people, you never know. She could have, left her mark on somebody's life. A little bit of kindness. You never know how that can impact a person's life, or how they can, help them out, especially if they're like, going through something, or, you just never know. So other than that, I hope Andre's family, of course, they're not gonna feel better about the situation. Maybe they feel a little better about it, but nothing's gonna bring Andre back. But other than that, yeah, Tim, you're gonna be there for a minute. And my thoughts and prayers are with Andre's family, and may his soul rest in peace.